hears mine?
Yeah, we are able to hear you clearly.
Okay, so in that case, I think we will begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadho Jayam Udirayet Shrimvatam Swakadha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto Hyabhadrani Vidhunodi Suhritsadam Nastya Prayeshwa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavada Sevaya Bhagavat Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Om Atnana Timirandhasya Nananjana Shalakaya Chakshurummelitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. So today we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, Text 13. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vilajjamanaya yasya sthatum iksha padhe muya vimohida vigathante mamaham iti durdhiya. Vilajjamanaya yasya sthatum iksha padhe muya vimohida vigathante mamaham iti durdhiya. Vilajjamanaya yasya Statum iksha padhe muya vimohita vikhattante mamaham iti durdhiyaha. Word by word meaning. Vilajjamanaya, by one who is ashamed. Yasya, whose. Statum, to stay. Iksha padhe, in friend. Amoya, by the bewildering energy. Vimohita, those who are bewildered. Vikhathante, talk nonsense. Mama, it is mine. Aham, I am everything. Iti, thus vituperating. Durdhiya, thus ill-conceived. Vituperating and ill-conceived. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. And purport also, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the illusory energy of the Lord, cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position. But those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in thoughts of it is I and it is mine. Once again, the illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position. But those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in thoughts of it is I and it is mine. So, purport by Srila Prabhupada. The invincibly powerful, deluding energy of the personality of Godhead, or the third energy, representing nescience, can bewilder the entire world of animation, but still she is not strong enough to be able to stand in front of the Supreme Lord. Nescience is behind the personality of Godhead, where she is powerful enough to mislead the living beings, and the primary symptoms of bewildered persons is, what is the primary symptoms? They talk nonsense. Nonsensical talks are not supported by the principles of Vedic literatures. And first grade nonsense talk is, it is I and it is mine. A godless civilization is exclusively conducted by such false ideas and such persons without any factual realization of God. Accept a false God or falsely declare themselves to be God to mislead persons who are already bewildered by the deluding energy. They are already bewildered by the deluding energy of the Lord, and they are very happy to mislead others. That is the situation of this world. Those who are before the Lord, however, these are the devotees who are standing before the Lord. They are those who surrender unto Him cannot be influenced by the deluding energy. Therefore, they are free from the misconception of it is I and it is mine. And therefore, they do not accept a false God or pose themselves as equal to the Supreme Lord. Identification of a bewildered person is distinctly given in this verse. So it says you can easily identify a person who is totally bewildered by the material energy of the Lord because they always talk nonsense and always they are absorbed in thoughts of I and mine. And so in the previous verse, Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. In the previous verse, His Grace Hari Prasad Prabhu spoke so beautifully. The previous verse, once again, just as a reminder, I offer my obeisances and meditate upon Lord Krishna, Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead, whose invincible potency influences them. Influences who? The less intelligent class of men, to call me the supreme controller. So it was so nicely explained by Hari Prasad Prabhu that by this invincible Maya, Lord Brahma is telling, when Narada is asking all those questions, Lord Brahma is saying, because of the energy, the invincible Maya of the Supreme Lord, people are speaking of me as that Jagat Guru. And Prabhu quoted so many verses, Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. We all know Krishna is the Jagat Guru, not Lord Brahma. But even Lord Brahma is recognizing, just because of ignorance and because of the influence of the illusory energy, people recognize him as that as Jagat Guru. And Lord Brahma is accepting he is not accepting such a praise, even from this great saintly personality, Narada. It's like usually in this world, when somebody praises you, you really buy into that. You think that, yes, this is so wonderful. Everybody is praising me. The moment somebody criticizes, we completely get impacted by that. So much was going on during this weekend. The effect of the illusory energy of the Lord was very strongly felt. And this really inspired me actually reading about this verse and preparing for this class, even though, I hardly has been spending any time in this right direction because of all this involvement with the material energy, that it was really a learning experience in many ways. And everything that I was hearing this past 3 days from Hari Prasad Prabhu, everything was resonating in my brain. And it's such a great pleasure. So I chose that topic of transferring this aham and mama consciousness to the Supreme Lord today, because actually this particular verse is talking more about how the illusory energy is standing behind the Lord. And it can influence only ignorant persons, not the devotees. The ignorant, bewildered living entities who, they are influenced by this particular energy, and such living entities who are influenced by this energy, they are the ones who always boast I and mine, living in that consciousness day to day. And you can see that all around you. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, usually he is in a question and answer mode. And in this particular verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur asks this question to Brahma. So he's asking, are those who respect you as Guru of the universe and its creator bewildered by Maya? Those who respect you as the creator, are they bewildered by the Maya? And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur answers. He says, yes, those who give respect and receive respect without reference to the Lord are bewildered by Maya, who is situated at the back of the Lord. Those who give respect and those who accept respect without any reference to the Lord are bewildered by Maya. So you can imagine we all fall under that category. We easily fall prey to that praise in front of our eyes. And we don't even think for a second to give credit to the Supreme Lord. So because the material energy of the Lord Maya, she knows that she is deceiving the living entity. Because we are ignorant, we fall prey to her energy. And she says the Maya energy is ashamed to stand in front of the Lord. And she's like a deceitful person. And she's deceiving living entities. And so she goes and stands behind the Lord. So being situated behind the Lord is not facing her. She's not facing him. So she's not facing the Lord. And so her influence does not affect the Lord. And so Lord says, Daivi hiesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mamevaye prapadyande mayam edam tarantide. And so Maya cannot influence the Lord. And because of that, because Maya cannot influence the Lord, one who takes shelter of the Lord is freed from this influence of the Lord's, that particular energy. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a beautiful commentary on this development of how does Prema develop in a living entity. And in that context, he speaks that the ahankara, it has got two functions. And one aspect of ahankara is ahanta. Ahanta is this consciousness of I. And then there is the second aspect of ahankara is mamata. Mamata is deep attachment and the consciousness of mine. It is I and mine. And we always invest this kind of thinking into all the objects around us, our family, our friends, our relatives, and our property. Anything, oh, this is mine. This feeling of possessiveness, that is mamata. So I'll just touch upon this before we go into the beautiful elaborations by our acharyas. And so Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains how to do this. He says that one has to start thinking, I am the follower of the Lord. I am the servant of the Lord. And my Lord, he is an ocean of beauty. And he is so attractive. He is full of virtues. He is full of sweetness. We experienced the Lord's sweetness in those nectarian verses that Hari Prasad Prabhu recited past few days. And this is how you experience the Madhurya feature of the Lord. So, and because of that, along with his associates, he is to be served by me. So when one identify oneself in this way, our ahanta will shift from what it is today to the Supreme Lord. This is how we purify ourselves, making the Lord and his associates as the object of our affection or attachment or mamata. When you shift your mamata towards the Lord and his associates. And how can that shifting happen? That shifting happens only if you immerse yourself in this particular process of appreciating the beauty. You could see how much is packed in every single verse of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and everything else that we have been hearing. And by shifting that, there's a whole transformation that is taking place. Now, I will briefly say, it's not briefly, actually, I may go a little bit over time because the subject is such a beautiful subject. So let me just see how much we can address today. So it is stated by our acharyas that at the stage of bhava, the devotee is constantly remembering the Lord. So there is a verse in the third canto, Kapila Dev is speaking. And I will first recite this verse, and we all know this verse, but it is so sweet. Kapila Dev is saying, Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogadir Avichinna Yadha Gangamba Sambudau Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya Hyudahritam Haitu Avyavahita Ya Bhakti Purushottame Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogadir Avichinna Yatha Gangamba Sambudau Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya Hyudahritam Ahaitu Avyavahita Ya Bhakti Purushottame. Just say that Lakshanam, Ya Bhakti Purushottame. These words are like, they're so sweet. You don't even need to do anything other than just recite this. So the meaning is the manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. So what happens? What happens when that thought process is completely flowing towards the Lord? One thing, so many things that Hari Prasad Prabhu said go so deep into your heart. Such persons don't reveal themselves, but they live that life of bhakti. And you can see, like one thing he mentioned, that when he was trying to find the translation or the meaning embedded in a certain verse, it came to him in his dream. And this is one thing I wanted to talk today. How does something like that come to your dream? Nothing comes to your dream unless you are really deeply steeped in this. And it is the stage, this particular stage of complete absorption is described as Dhruvanusmriti. And that is what this verse is all about, this deep absorption, how the mind is flowing towards the lotus feet of the Lord. It is not just the brain is thinking or we are just slightly, you are remembering, nothing like that. This is like a constant flow towards the lotus feet of the Lord. So I thought I will speak a little bit about the different state of consciousness in which we live. So there is always, like, we are either in wakeful state or we are in dream state or we are in deep sleep. So wakefulness, dream, and sound sleep. So generally in the wakeful state, what is happening? Our heart and our mind is our thoughts, everything is going towards the objects all around you. Constantly there is this information bombardment. Constantly there are people talking to us. We are listening people's opinions and we are seeing things and we are forming impressions, and he said this, she said that. So many different things are happening all around you. Today, the weekend was such a real experience of real life. So you are hearing so many things, and I mean, there is so much to say. I don't think we have the time. But anyway, that is what happens in the wakeful state. So the mind of a sadhaka devotee, however, is constantly absorbed, on the other hand, in the thoughts of the Lord. How can you constantly absorb unless you hear about, unless you meditate upon, unless you are inspired? Otherwise, your mind will be everywhere, all around you. So in dreaming state, what is dreaming state? Dreaming state is really a state of mental imagination. Thoughts are flowing from your brain to your mind in the dreaming state. So wakeful state, as we just discussed, all the senses are active. In the sleeping state, all the external senses go, it's shut down. But still, internally, something is happening. And so, even though outer gross material senses are not present, the mind is wandering into that subtle kingdom. So, in that state of mind, that state, the mind is eagerly accepting the thoughts coming in that domain. Even in that sleeping state, the mind is receiving thoughts because the brain is still active. And the brain is active because all the impressions that we have received during the daytime, during our activities, it is all being pumped, and brain is processing, it is flowing into the mind in the normal state. But in deep sleep, there is no such thing happening at all. In our deep sleep, we are simply dead. And in the case of a practicing devotee, what is happening is the Lord, Sri Hari's form, his qualities, and his activities, everything is flowing into the chitta of such a devotee, even in the deep sleep. In our deep sleep, we are totally dead, and we like it. We like to be oblivious of everything that is happening. I want to sleep like a dead person. That is exactly what happens to ordinary people. But someone who is absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, there is this constant flow, even when all the external senses are inactive, even subtle senses are not working. And still, the thought process, the thought is only about Hari. So, sound sleep is that state where, as I mentioned, everything, all the gross material senses are not working, and there is no chance of any thought, and all the gross and subtle senses are all merged, and that is the deep sleep which we are talking about. So there is a definition for that. There is a scripture called Mandukya Stuti, Mandukya Shruti, and it says, Yatra Suptona Kanchana, Karyam Kamayatena Kanchana, Swapna Pashyati Sat Sushuptam. That state wherein a sleeping person does not desire, think, or even dream. A sleeping person does not think, does not desire, or even dream, is known as Sushupti. So that person is not thinking, he's not desiring, he's not thinking of, his subtle senses are also quiet. In that state, such as this great sadhaka devotee who has attained that rati or deep attachment to the Lord, he is remembering the Lord. This is exactly how you are shifting the consciousness of aham and mama to the lotus feet of the Lord. When that happens, this is the result. And ordinary persons like us, we do not know what that is. We do not experience this because we always experience the constant flow of thoughts in our waking state, using our collecting thoughts, collecting information, using our gross senses. In the sleeping state, processing all that we have gathered in our brain and flowing back like a Ganga flowing into the river. It is always flowing into our mind in our dream state. The mind is revealing all of that to us, and there is no end to that. So, easily said, then done. So, when such a devotee is existing, it is not easy to identify such a devotee because it requires a qualified person to identify such a devotee. So, such a devotee is like a miser. Why? Because if you give a precious jewel in the hands of a miser, the miser is not going to reveal it to everyone. He will hold it very close to his heart. And so to identify such a devotee, one has to have that type of deep attachment to the Lord. Otherwise, one cannot. So it is like when a sadhaka gets to that state of deep attachment to the Lord, an example given is that of a bee. And a bee is absorbed in relishing the nectar of a flower. And we had like an abhasa or a chaya state of what that is, like how when you get absorbed, when somebody with that qualification presents the subject matter to you, whether you want it or not, even though we are ignorant, but we ourselves get attracted to in the presence of such devotees. And when this is exactly what happens to someone who is an advanced devotee, who has deep attachment to the Lord, is like a bee taking nectar from a flower. So he's so absorbed in that he is not bothered about everything that is going around him. So they are absorbed in the nectar of the lotus feet of Sri Radha Madhava, that the bee is not even remembering, he's not thinking about what is happening all around. So after attaining such a constant remembrance of the Lord, such devotees don't, pronounce themselves, I am this perfect devotee. They don't do that. They hide it. They don't reveal it. So it's like this miserly person who has received a jewel. And then such a person exhibits certain qualities. One of the quality is tolerance. Another quality is renunciation. So there is this beautiful verse about this bhava stage given in Nectar of Devotion. And I will just read it to you. These are the qualities exhibited by a devotee who has attained that state, who has shifted his constant thoughts, everything absorbed in the remembrance of the Lord. This is that verse in Nectar of Devotion. Shandir avyartha kalatvam viraktir mana shunyata ashabandha samukthanta nama gana sadaruji. I'm sure you all understood this. Shandir avyartha kalatvam viraktir mana sunyata ashabandha samukthanta nama gane sadaruji asattistas gunakhyane pritistat vasadistale it adhayo anubhavasyur jadha bhavankure jana. Jata bhavankure jane. What is the translation? The anubhavas or characteristics of a person who has developed the bud of bhava are as follows. This is the qualities. We have to pay close attention to this. The qualities of such a person is tolerance, not wasting time, detachment from enjoyment, pridelessness, confidence in the Lord's mercy, longing for the Lord, taste for chanting the holy name of Lord, attachment to discussing about Lord's qualities, and attachment to living in the abode of the Lord. So such a person, these are the qualities. Now I will try to get to the point here towards the end of this. There are so many examples given for elaborating on each one of these qualities. So tolerance means not being disturbed when there is cause for disturbance. So you tell me, Is there cause for disturbance? Is there cause for disturbance? There is so much cause for disturbance. This whole weekend, last whole week, yesterday whole day for me, morning till evening, I was hearing causes of disturbance. Everybody wanted to solve these problems. So being undisturbed, even when there is cause for disturbance, that is defined as tolerance. An example given is that of Maharaja Parikshit. And he was a personification of tolerance in the worst adverse circumstance in his life. And the translation of words from first canto, it says, "O Brahmanas," this is Maharaja Parikshit saying, "please just accept me as a completely surrendered soul, and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. For I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahmana created bite me at once. I only desire you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu." Maharaja Parikshit is not afraid. He's telling, let the snake bird or whatever thing it is that is created by Brahmana, let it bite me. It doesn't matter. What is his request? You all sing the glorification of the Lord. Another quality is that of not wasting time. I have to chant this verse, but before that, there is a reference here from Hari Bhakti Shuddhodaya. Hari Bhakti Shuddhodaya states that the devotee continuously praise the Lord with words, remember him with their minds. Praise the Lord with words, remember him with their minds, offer respects with their bodies. Still, they are not satisfied. With tears flowing from their eyes, they offer their complete lives to the Lord. That is what is called as not wasting time. Not like when someone asks you, "Prabhu or Mataji, can you sweep this floor?" Then they say to you that, "Oh, I have this, I have all these other things to do. Let me see if it is possible to do. I will get back to you." And what do we have to say? "Oh, yes, thank you so very much. You please, Prabhu, let me know." And Prabhu may come or he may not come, but we have to be very happy that we talked with the Prabhu. That is not what it's saying here. It says still they are not satisfied after, they are praising the Lord with words, remembering him with their mind, offering respect and with their bodies and doing everything. Still they are not satisfied. With tears flowing from their eyes, they offer. What do they offer? Their complete lives to the Lord. Now, none of us can, all of you, I would say, and even including myself when I used to work, we cannot quit our job. That's not what is being talked about here. We are not quitting our job. We are not recommending people quit their job. But this reminds you of Maharaja Ambariksha. So in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, verse, in the 4th chapter, 9th canto, 4th chapter, the verses 18 to 20. Just let me recite this. This is how Maharaja Ambariksha engaged himself. He did not take a break and came back just to do some little service. He said, this verse is so beautiful. I have always relished this verse. It says, "Savai mana Krishna padaravindayor vachansi vaikunta gunanuvarnane karau harer mandiramarjana disho shrutim chakara chuta satkadodhaye mukundalingale darshane drisho tadbritya gatra sparshenga sangamam Pranam cha tatpada saroja saurabhe Srimad Tulasya rasanam tadarpide Adau hare kshetra padanusarpane Chiro Hrishikesha Padabhivandane Kamam Chadasyena tu Kama Kamaya Yadhottama Sloka Jana Shrayarati Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayo Vachansi Vaikundha Gunanuvarnane Karau Hare Mandiramarjanadisho Shrutim Chakara Tadotaye Mukundalingale Darshane Drishau Tadbritya Gatra Sparshenga Sangamam Granam tu Tatpada Saroja Saurabhi Shrimat Tulasya Rasanam Tadarpite Padau Hare Kshetra Padanusarpane Shiro Hrishikesha Padabhivandane Kamam Chadasyena tu Kama Kamaya Yathottama Shloka Jana Shrayarati. So such a devotee, Maharaja Ambariksha, you can read how he engaged all his mind and senses meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna. He engaged all his senses in devotional service in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment for the Lord and be completely free from all material desires. So how does one develop those qualities which are listed in Nectar of Devotion? Of course, when one attains that stage of bhakti, but even if you are not attaining that stage of bhakti, one can still develop the qualities by following the examples given to us. Another quality of such a devotee is pridelessness. So in spite of being in a high position, one remains very humble. We don't even need a position. Even without that, we are very proud. An example given to that is that of King Bhagiratha. Bhagiratha, I'm sure all of you know the story of King Bhagiratha, and he was a crest jewel among the kings, and he went out begging from house to house. Where did he go? He didn't go to his friend's house. He went to his enemy's house begging. That is a king. And he offered respect to dog eaters. And we expect respect from everyone. We don't offer respect to anybody. This is King Bhagiratha offering respect to everyone. And this is the quality of such a devotee. So now, I think I will quickly finish this topic with one thought. So all of these qualities, when one's mind is fully absorbed in the lotus feet of the Lord, that is one thing to understand. But there is this description of some symptoms, such as this tears coming into the eyes and hair standing up. These are also considered to be symptoms of ecstasy. But these devotees, it is stated in the scriptures that a really advanced devotee don't expect to see these kind of symptoms in their body, because they are like miserly persons. They cover all that inner attachment or inner love they have developed to the Lord, the quality that they carry in their heart, it's not that visible to people. But sometimes you see the symptoms, such as the shedding of the tears, or sometimes you see people claiming to be ecstatic. And when you see, this is, I'm concluding here, when you see this kind of symptoms in persons who are worldly people, crying and saying that my hair is standing in ecstasy and all that, that is described as pratibimba, or the reflected stage. And there is another terminology used, which is chaya rati abhasa. That is seen in innocent people who come into contact with the devotees, and then they exhibit these type of symptoms. And I happened to hear this lecture very, very long time ago, maybe a very early stage of my practicing Krishna consciousness. It was what Maharaj, the Maharaj who preaches in Australia, wonderful sannyasi.
Mataji,
But,
Devamrita Maharaj.
huh?
Devamrita Swami
Bhakti?
Maharaj.
I couldn't hear you. Repeat.
Mataji, is that Devamrita Swami Maharaj
No, not Devamrita Swami.
or Bhakti Vijnana Maharaj?
But no, not Bhakti Vijnana Maharaj. I'll remember some other time.
Okay.
Anyway, this Maharaj
Okay.
was giving this beautiful lecture, and he said that when devotees were performing kirtan in somewhere, some remote part of Africa, there were these Aborigine people who came, and they were all dancing with the devotees. And I think this Maharaj is in South Africa, and so they were all dancing in ecstasy, and these Aborigine people who came to participate in kirtan, they were shedding tears. And they are innocent people, but in the association of the devotees, they were shedding tears. And this is called chaya abhasa. So just coming in contact with someone, like, look at the caliber of our Hari Prasad Prabhu. You know, anyone will feel like crying when he's reciting verses and explaining in context. And so that is called chaya abhasa. So chaya ratya abhasa. But the point here to make is that all these 9 qualities that was described in Nectar of Devotion, those are the qualities that one should be looking for in devotees. How steady, how much of an attachment they have for chanting of the holy name of the Lord, how much of a deep interest they have in discussing about Lord's qualities and pastimes. You know, how much of an attachment they have living in the abode of the Lord, how tolerant they are. Do they waste their time? Are they detached from looking for enjoyment all over the place? Are they prideless? Do they have confidence in Lord's mercy and imagining and longing for the Lord and tasting the name of the Lord? These are the qualities that you may find, because we may be able to recognize that in such devotees who are deeply attached in service to the Lord. The moment you see that, we don't have the ability to recognize because we ourselves are not deeply attached. So we don't have the ability. So we are not looking for symptoms of someone crying or their hair standing on end or none of that. We are simply looking for these qualities described in Nectar of Devotion. And we have so many examples in Srimad Bhagavatam where devotees have exhibited. And so anyway, coming back to the verse where the Maya, the material energy, is standing behind the Lord, and she is influencing those people who are ignorant. And as a result of that influence of that material energy, people engage in unnecessary talk and what is described in the verse, and they are not investing their time in glorification of the Lord. And such people, naturally, the material energy influences them. Such people are not turned towards the lotus feet of the Lord. And once they do so, and one takes shelter of the Lord, by the Lord's mercy, one may be able to overcome all kinds of difficulties and slowly progress in this direction. So there's a long process. The Lord gives shelter simultaneously, even though there is that material energy working against us in one sense, trapping us here. But the Lord is saying that Mame veye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. If we are conscious about the Lord's instruction, and if we implement that in our life, if we are able to consciously live our life, that is what is a devotee is all about. Because now, because of this current, our whatever is our temple construction related situation, you come across all sorts of people. We are engaging people from all walks of life, which we need to engage. Krishna himself instructed in to Uddhava that engage pious people, ask them to invest their money in constructing temples for his glorification. So you cannot sit in a corner and just build this temple by yourself. That's not what Krishna's instruction is. He says, engage pious people. But when you are engaging people, you go through a lot of stuff, and then, you learn a lot, but you cannot go and hide somewhere. You have to stand there and you have to do your job. So sometimes when people say, my feelings are hurt also, sometimes, in this 1 week, that's all what I was hearing, so many things. And so, yes, feelings get hurt, and then we have to remind ourselves, this is not what I'm here for. And I'm not saying that these things don't happen. It happens even when, like, it makes noise even if there are 2 people together. What to speak about 600 people and such a heavy service on our head. And we have to do the service because the Lord said, do that. And then how do you do that and then not be impacted by everything that is going on? How do you keep those things out of your mind and stay focused? You are recharging. This is Krishna sent Hari Prasad Prabhu here to energize you in the right direction. This is our nectar. This is the beauty is that we have these resources. So many nice devotees coming. We are going to have His Grace Radhe Shyam Prabhu next week. And who else? So many people are coming. And we make the best use of their association, and we thank Krishna that we have all of this, and not only just learn the message, but really practically apply that, and then our life will be successful. I took 20 minutes extra because there was so much material here. Actually, yesterday, even though I couldn't attend the program, I was reading and I was hearing Hari Prasad Prabhu's class and answering people's complaints. So it's a very interesting experience how to put this in practice in the middle of in the middle of this confusing situation. So there was this one word was translated in these words as vituperating. Vituperating. I did not know what is vituperating. I looked up in the dictionary. It said bitter and abusive language. People under the influence of Maya uses bitter and abusive language. So I thought, okay, that's what happened. So we have to accept it. Thank you all for your patience. Hare Krishna. I think I took 20 minutes. If there is any quick thoughts, anyone of you want to share, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for taking us all around the journey. It's so beautiful, Ambarish Maharaj and Bhava Bhakti symptoms. As you were concluding, the analogy that you mentioned about the bee, Mataji, how it's so absorbed when it's extracting the honey from the flower, it's not disturbed by anything else. Though it seems very high stage, one thing I'm taking is most of the times my mind is, focusing on these disturbances and thinking, oh, why am I not getting disturbed? I'm a devotee, I'm not supposed to. And my focus is so much on that disturbances themselves. But as you were speaking, this thought came that my focus should be on extracting the honey and really deeply connecting to the holy name and serving the devotees. Then, I'll have the strength to deal with these disturbances and tolerating them. So that was really very beautiful. And the whole class, it's always a wonderful experience to hear from you, the deep appreciation you have for the Shastra and how you're sharing. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you so much for your sharing of your realization. Yes, I felt that, I always feel that there is so much of amazing nectar in all our scriptures, and Krishna has provided us with all of that. And yes, we all hear from so many sources. And even just yesterday, when somebody I was talking with someone, they were telling that, yes, I understand all of that. And so the first thing that came to my mind, I did say this also. Yes, you understand all of that, but when it comes to that practical moment where you need to act, don't forget to act, because something may be a very simple thing. A problem can be fixed by acting at the right moment. A problem should not be like left unattended. The more Krishna reveals to you, and then all this knowledge, all the instructions we are gathering about how to direct our thoughts towards Krishna. When a problem comes and how this can be fixed, it should be fixed in practical ways, and then change your direction, move towards Krishna. But that many times don't happen, because all the knowledge that one may have from scripture, and ultimately, what was it Hari Prasad Prabhu was telling, that the gopis, they were talking, they were doing Gopi Gita, chanting Gopi Gita. Krishna did not come, and they just cried for Krishna, and Krishna came. So, doing all our worldly activities, and even, our own temple activities, where you come across people from all walks of life, and everybody, every single time there is a mixing from new people with old people, and again, educating all of them, and then there is so much of mixing is happening, and then there is something happens, and then you need to address those issues, and you still have to go. You cannot mix up these things. Your journey towards Krishna is your journey towards Krishna. You cannot stop it at any moment. Service to Krishna, we cannot stop. Our devotees are our assets. Our devotees, anybody who has taken up the process of chanting, even one time calling out the name of Krishna, our devotees are our assets. And we may have so many faults, but our devotees are assets. No question about it. So whatever it is that may be coming our way, we have to move that, address it, move it, carry on. Your service should be like the mind is, just like a Ganga is flowing towards the ocean, just like that, towards the lotus feet of the Lord. And that's a practice. That does not happen without practice at all. It does not happen. And actually, this is like a battlefield here. It's every day is like a battlefield. You have to apply what you have learned and keep doing it, and not just get distracted, disgusted. Somebody told me I was ready to, how to say, someone was telling, so I was so frustrated that wanted to leave and go somewhere just yesterday. And I said, there was nobody to hear the complaint. I'm here to hear your complaint. Pick up the phone, call me, pick up the phone and call. And did I ever not answer your phone calls? There was never a time in the middle of the night, if somebody called, I always pick up the phone. So every one of us should be available for those, who are in need, and still stay focused on the Lord. That is my experience. So this is the battlefield where you really, test your skills, and you cannot just give up and walk away from this at all. Yeah, what else? Anything else, or just hang up? Done? There is
Everyone is here, Mathaji. I think some devotees are there. I don't know if anybody has anything.
Anybody want to say something? Okay, it's almost 8:30. We can leave, I think. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for being there. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. You are like the jewels, You are really like jewels. If you are not here, I don't know what we would do. Just like how we say we need the association. Association first begins here only. We don't need to go elsewhere looking for association. Thank you again for everything that you do. Appreciate you. Thank you.